The Small Guide to Homeownership book was a long process. It started as an exhibition, and the first thing that came to mind when I started to think about of the book was that it was going to be a guide. It was going to be a cynical guide of how to buy a house in Mexico. And the closest reference we have to homeownership is the American homeownership idea. A lot of the work that I do really starts out with experimenting and walking through space and observing, but at the same time there is a lot of delving into theory and ideas that help me understand what it is that I'm seeing. So a small guide to homeownership began in 2005. I had seen how the Monterey metropolitan area was changing into this suburbanized landscape. And I would go out to the peripheries of the metro area and photograph, and always finding in those landscapes little houses appearing in the middle of nowhere. And that created a huge opportunity to think, why is this happening? Why is my landscape changing so rapidly around me? And that led me to a rabbit hole of almost 10 years of documenting not only that can be seen, but asking, why are those things there? So I went into the idea of bureaucracy, home ownership bureaucracy. What are the steps that are taken in order for those new houses to be built? They don't appear out of nowhere. Somebody is dreaming of them. Somebody is asking for money to build them. How does that look in pictures? So landscape photography is not only the portrayal of what can be seen, but also the invisible processes that make those landscapes change. And that led also to photographing transportation issues with the suburbanization. How do people go from the outskirts of the city into the city, and what does that look like? What happens to the ecological infrastructure around us, and how does that look like when it's hit with an overpopulation and an overgrowth of the city? It's not only focusing on things that happen, but the interconnections of things that are happening in one urban space, and what is the relationship between dying ecological features of a space and dying urban features of a space. Homeownership isn't straightforward in the world. There has to be nuances that have to be taken into account in order for it to work and not become a violent adaptation of culture from one culture to another.